Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm Christina Loureiro, certified angel messenger and angel Reiki master teacher. My spiritual journey began in the spring of 2022 when my spirit team nudged me to listen to the amazing Angels in Awakening podcast. Since then, I've been learning to use my spiritual gifts and growing increasingly curious about spirituality and various healing modalities. I'm so excited for you to join me on this special journey as we dive into spirituality, healing, while exchanging our wisdom and profound insights with other remarkable healers. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, get cozy, and let's embark on the spiritual journey together. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm Christina, your host. In this week's episode, we have Ashley Donnegan, the founder of One Mama's Heart Publishing Company. If you don't know who she publishes children's books with her daughter. The ideas and drawings, stories are all from her daughter, and I think that's really amazing. Comes from a high vibrational love state. So tune in as we talk about her spiritual awakening that started almost 21 years ago to where she is now, publishing children's books with her daughter, and how that's helped heal her inner child, how she's really living her purpose as a mother and doing this publishing company with her daughter and just putting out good, high vibrational children's books to the world. Welcome back to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I have Ashley here. She's also known as One Mama Heart on Instagram. Hey, Ashley, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
So I'm good. I'm good. I always like to start the podcast by the guest introducing themselves and what do they do.
Yeah, so I'm Ashley Donnegan. My daytime job, I've been in the salon and spa industry for 24 years now. So I own my own spa and work for myself by myself. So I do that. But then I've also recently started a publishing company called One Mama's Heart, where I write children's books with my daughter. So that's been a super fun thing that I've been getting into lately. So
Oh, I love that you're writing children's book with your daughter. That's really cool. And that's an experience and a bond that is so unique.
yes, thank you. It's been a ton of learning, but yeah, it's a great way for us to spend time together. And she's far more talented than I am, and she's a very creative kid. And I always was as a child, so it's sort of helping me to heal my inner child, I guess you could say, through this experience as well. But it's mainly to, do things with her and show her that you can do anything if you put your mind to it.
That's powerful. And I love that you mentioned healing your inner child because that's what I was hearing as you were talking about the children's books that Spirit was coming through and saying she's healing her inner child through this.
Yes, it's been just kind of a crazy experience, really, but it's all just sort of happening so much simultaneously, and it's just fun to watch and experience.
That's amazing. So we're going to segue into your spiritual awakening, just a kind of snip short story, and feel free to only talk about what you want to talk about.
Okay, I'll try to keep it kind of short because it's long over years. It's not just one thing. It's like a multitude, kind of a snowball effect over the years. But I would say really um, in 2003, I got in a really bad car accident and I was 21 years old. So, and I almost died. I think I probably did die for a few seconds or minutes. I don't remember anything about it. I can't visually like see it in my mind. So I only know things because I had to go to court and I have like the documents and the paramedics. I had to be life flighted. So I have like all those documents that I've read through. is
Wow.
how I know the details. Otherwise, I cannot see it in my mind at all. And I've tried to like get hypnotized so I could remember, and they would not do it. They said it's my brain's way of protecting myself from the trauma. But anyhow, it was pretty bad. I had to be life flighted. I didn't know my own name for a while. I didn't know my parents' name. So, it was pretty bad. But looking back, that was kind of the universe's way of trying to like literally hit me in the head and be like, wake up,
Mm.
you know, um, through that experience. And even though it was very hard and a struggle, and a lot of people have it a lot worse than I did, and I know that. But now I can look back and say I'm almost grateful for that experience. It's somewhat a gift because now I can see how lucky I was and why I didn't die. Like I went through a pretty bad depression during that time, or after. It took me probably about a year to see like why I didn't die.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't want to like hurt myself or, commit suicide or anything like that, but I just couldn't understand why God's kept me alive. Like why I wish I had died in that experience. Um, but now, how many years later? 2003. So 21 years later almost, I can see now that why God did save me. So that I would say would be the beginning of my, but I didn't see it at that time. Of course, it took
Yeah.
many, many years later. Um, and then I got married, got into kind of a tumultuous relationship. I mean, we had a lot of love and everything, but it just was toxic and not a great thing. I always wanted to have children and be a mother. That did not work out for that relationship, even though I wanted it really bad. It just wasn't good
Mm.
to bring children into that. So I didn't. Um, and then if you have any questions about anything, just feel free to
Yeah.
ask because there's a lot in there. But so then going into my late 20s, after I got divorced, I met a guy and got pregnant unexpectedly, which was um very hard, but also it was bittersweet because I always wanted to be a mom, but I didn't want to do it in that way with somebody that I didn't really know that well. And so that was a very low point in my life too. But I became excited about it and decided to, embrace the situation and became happy. And then the first time I went to get a sonogram, I found out I was going to have twins. And so then I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so then I got really excited about it and thought, what a blessing. And then I found out, um, sorry,
Take your time.
I found out they had died. So I had a miscarriage. And um, but they didn't come out like the typical way, babies expel themselves when you have a miscarriage. So I had to have surgery to remove them. And so
Um,
that experience was really hard. It was really hard.
yeah,
Sorry,
I can't
excuse me.
imagine that. No, that's okay. That's a hard thing to talk about.
It is,
Um,
but it's part of what's made me me. And um, so anyway, that experience was probably like my rock bottom after that. Um, and any mother who goes through that, you know,
yeah,
I have a lot of compassion for. So,
absolutely.
um, sorry, I didn't know that was gonna come out, but anyway, it's
I think it
all
was
very
meant to
real.
come out.
Yeah, it's all very real. But anyhow, so that was really a low point, and still all these, from my past, my wreck, my marriage, my divorce, wanting to be a mom, having that happen and having that taken from me was very hard. Um, and all just part of my journey.
Yeah.
So Then I met my daughter's father, and we got married, and you know, got pregnant with her, and that was amazing and wonderful. And then I knew why um all those things had happened. I mean, everyone has struggles in life. I'm no different than anyone. We all, I don't know any human without struggle, but this has just been mine. And um so yeah, that's been so up until the point of having my daughter, she is why I was saved, why I was put here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to say, Spirit was coming through as you were telling your story, and you were meant to be saved for that accident. You have the bigger purpose here, and that is being the mom to your little girl. But your twins also came through, and um, as you were talking through my third eye, I could see little orbs behind you, which is a spirit's way of showing me that they were around. So they are around you. You actually didn't tell me about the twins when we had our initial conversation, and I think it's because you were supposed to tell the story now, so that other mothers that listen to this podcast can understand what that goes through. And they just have so much love. They're with you. They show me that they're with your daughter as well, particularly when you guys are making these books. So I feel like that's part of the purpose that you have here on Earth is to make these children's books.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope so. I It's been fun, and it's been a great thing to do with her. So I've just been having a ball doing it.
That's amazing. So as you were talking about your spiritual awakening, how has your daughter's arrival impacted that? Had that, because I know you're saying you were starting to experience your spiritual awakening a little bit before your daughter was here. And then I wonder how she impacted your awakening. Did you kind of see the picture of your purpose a little bit more? Like, how does that flow for you?
Um, yeah, so I had sort of started, during probably my late 20s, around those difficult times. I was seeking out, healers and different modalities of things, and learning and watching videos and reading, and just trying all different things. So, um, yeah, then when I had her, I feel like um if anyone's aware of like frequency and vibration, I feel like she is such a pure joy of, light and love, that my vibration and my frequency elevated just by, being her mother and having her grow inside of me. And then after that experience, of giving birth to her, I feel like my ex-husband and I were no longer a match. And then we kind of drifted apart, and I had to really do a lot of work on myself, so that I could be the best mom for her. And it just wasn't a fit to be with him anymore. And that's unfortunate. And, I'm thankful for him for giving me her. But so that was part of a difficult journey too. So just having her, being a mother, and realizing what an important job that is really opened my eyes, and that it's not about me, it's about being there for her. And so that really kind of put an aha moment, like nothing that mattered happened to you that matters. It's about her.
Yeah. Um, Definitely keep hearing the word purpose when you talk about her. Like that's I believe that many of us have many purposes during our lifetime, and that is one of your purposes to be a mom. And she specifically chose you.
I believe that. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't probably, I believe she saved my life. I wouldn't probably, I care more about things for her and other people than I do myself. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
working on that, but at that time when I had her, that's how it was. So she opened my eyes that I need to have self-love and things like that. And she has shown me that.
Yeah, and that is a perfect segue to my next question is how has your daughters helped you spiritually?
Oh, yeah, just opening me up to realize that I need to work on myself and have self-love, and then that will reflect back to me in the world, in the universe, everything that happened before, it's because of, I believe, what I was projecting out from my own world within of, self-doubt, not enough self-love, low self-worth, low self-esteem. So that is how she has shown me that because I want to give it to her, but how can I do that if I don't do it for myself?
Yeah, and that's super powerful is how can we give love to our family without loving ourselves? I think that's super important. That's a really important message for people to hear today is that self-love is is important.
For sure. For sure. I think so too.
So you dabbled a little bit in spiritual modalities before your spiritual awakening. I was curious, what spiritual modalities did you try during your spiritual awakening, and what are you using now, if you're okay talking about it?
Sure. I've done pretty much anything anyone's told me about. I'm like, yes, let's try it. So I've done Reiki. I have been attuned to Reiki. I've done craniosacral therapy, healing touch. I've done shamanic journeys and breath works. I've done quantum healing. I've done hypnosis. I've done crystal bowl. Like what is that called? Crystal bowl
Like
healing
sound
sounds.
healing?
Yeah, sound healing, energy work. I've done, oh gosh, pretty much anything that you can name, I've probably done it.
Okay.
And now currently I find it hard to find time for it, even though I really enjoy it,
Hmm.
just because I'm now running two businesses. I live on a farm, I have a lot of animals, then my daughter and my family. So I find it hard, even though I feel like it's important for,
Hmm.
continuing all the healing. Um, I just find it hard to find time, but
Yeah. What Spirit's saying is just 5 minutes can make a difference.
yeah,
So if you just set like either 5 minutes in the when you get up first thing or 5 minutes right before bed, you're going to see a little bit of a difference with your frequency for that.
yes, I'm sure. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, busy mom life, I can't imagine, and a farm and two businesses. I mean, you have
Yeah,
a packed schedule.
I do. Yeah. But I do know it's important to keep, work on yourself and keep that
Yeah,
balance. But
absolutely. So I'd love for you to talk about One Mama's Heart. When I posted on Facebook for anybody to be guests, I was really drawn to yours
oh, thank you.
because because of your icon. I mean, your logo for One Mama is very bright and very vibrant energy wise, but the name of the business is the energy is just so almost, I don't want to say gooey because I don't want it to be like, but like very happy, positive. So I'd love for you to talk about what is it and who is it for?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for those compliments. And I have to give all that credit to my daughter, and that's her energy. She created the heart. And I tweaked it, but that was a little card she made me when she was 5, and she drew the kind of irregular heart shape. And so I always kept it, and she wrote like, "Love you, Mom." And so I always kept it because I loved it. And then when deciding on a logo, I was like, I even have it tattooed on my arm here.
That's
Before
amazing.
before I knew I was gonna have this business, I had it tattooed and because it was just so special to me. Um, so in deciding on the logo, I was like, that's really, I just love that. And of course I named it One Mama's Heart just because everything I do about my business comes from my heart,
Yeah.
and she is my heart. So that's how it started, as far as that goes. But the energy and everything, that's her creation and her design.
Mhm.
But like I said, I tweaked it a bit. But um, yeah, and who is it for? It's for anybody who can relate. And I mean, we write children's stories, and my first one, my book, is about her when she was little. And it's kind of more of a sweet little story about her young child life. But our second book that she helped me, she co-wrote and illustrated on the book. It's about our chickens on our farm. So it's kind of a silly, fun little story, but they're for just anybody who can relate, really, and kids, and sensitive kids, probably more in my first book. Anyone
Mhm.
who has like a levy or a stuffed animal, um, can relate to that, but our moms and, parents, anybody.
That's amazing. I love that you took your daughter's inspiration for the logo. It
Thank you.
really is pure love. And now hearing that your daughter made that is just, oh, it's so amazing. And the
Thank
vibration
you.
off of that is really beautiful.
Thank you.
How has doing this business of One Mama's Heart and making these books with your kids, how has that helped your inner child?
Oh, um, that's a tough one. I would say that, well, when I was younger, I used to love the same thing. My favorite
Mhm.
things were drawing and writing stories. And I started well, someone gave me some advice that to find your purpose in life, you should think back to what you did when you were a kid that you just loved, that like you could lose hours in, and you just got lost in that. And I would love to do art and write stories. And so I uncovered like a box of works when I was younger, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I did do that." And of course, over the years as I got older, that got pushed aside, and I got in high school, and different activities and boyfriends and other things became more important than that. And so I've always been creative and maybe in different avenues, but those got pushed aside. So then in trying to, heal and work on myself and figure out what is my purpose in life besides besides being a mom, which is like my number one and of course
Yeah.
most important thing to me. But a lot of people are moms, and I love it and it's wonderful, but that's not the only thing about me. So I was like, well, I used to love to write and do art. And so, but I always, judged it, and, it's not good enough. And I know I'm not good enough to share it and things like that. So in doing that, it's helped me sort of work to overcome those doubts and, you know, yeah. So, and this is definitely being on your podcast is definitely not my norm. Not I'm very
Yeah.
introverted. I'm very private, so it's helping me to get out there and just try to work through those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also feel like it's a full circle moment because you said when you were little you liked to be creative and draw and write stories, and now that's what you're doing with your daughter. I think that's
Right.
beautiful.
Thank you. It's been great to experience and watch.
Absolutely. So my last question is, how do you write these books? Do you both like what do you have a process or is it just like pure natural inspired? Um,
Yeah, so I will just say I don't know what I'm doing at all whatsoever. I've learned just as I've gone. The first book I actually wrote when she was 2, when I was going through my divorce from her dad. And words just, I always read to her when the time she was 2 months old. I loved reading to her and like snuggling while I was feeding her and rocking her at night. Um, which now she is like she's a top reader in her class. She's like
Mhm.
super smart, and she likes to read and she's very good at it. But So when she was 2, I just words kind of came to me, and that wasn't a natural thing. I was trying to do a lot of healing work at that time. I was, super eating super healthy. I was working out. I was very, I feel like I was at a good place. And so just words and inspiration just came to me, and they kind of rhymed, and I was like, that's not normal for me. Like, I don't write poetry. I've never rhymed anything, but I was like, I better write this down. Something just said, write this down. And I
Mm.
did, and I got even the markers and the construction paper from her, and I just made a little story, and I put it together with staples, and just like I did when I was a kid. No real thought to it. I just did it, and I shared it with just the two of us. And I never had the intention of ever showing anyone. And then years came by, and I was still, I'm continually working on myself, and I'm sure I will be for the rest of my life. But I was like, I kept getting the urge to share my story and share, people say you have a lot to talk about, a lot in you. And I'd be like, no, I don't. Like what? And
Mm.
so then and then some of the books I would read to her, I was like, I could do this. Like maybe somebody else could relate to my story, because I enjoyed other people's stories so much when she was little reading to her. I was like, maybe somebody else would like it. And um, so I just thought, why not? And then one thing led to another, and boom, now I have a book on Amazon. But my second book, that one, I have probably like 8 to 10 different ideas that she has come up with that I have for future books, because she'll just say something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be the cutest book, or that would be the cutest little story, or whatever. And so I have a list that I keep. So the second book she came up with based off of our chickens. And then we kind of like came up with a storyline, and then she did all the illustrations for it. So it's not out yet, but it's in the works. So that's my process. I really don't have one. It just sort of like whatever happens, it happens.
And I think that's genuine. Um, when you were talking about how you were writing the first book and the words just kind of fell out, your guardian angel stepped forward, and they were like, we were assisting, helping get those words out. She knew she wanted to get the words out, but we were helping her just kind of let it flow. So,
Well, yeah, I believe it, because it was not typical for me. So something happened.
oh, that's amazing. And I love that um, your daughter's really a key role in this.
She is the role, really. Without her, it wouldn't be.
And that's, I think, you know, she's the best person to try it with because she is a child and she knows she's read all these books, especially that you said she's a big reader, that she knows what stories are out there and what she wants to talk about. And I love that you're using her illustrations. I think that there's something really pure about using raw children illustrations and not, doing the professional illustrations because it's her love that radiates out of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, and I see a lot of books, and there's a lot of digital and AI creations, which are great and beautiful, and they're very vivid, and kids love them. But I'm just kind of more simple, and I wanted it to feel like my first one. It looks like a kid drew it. I'm not the best artist at all, but that's how I wanted it to look. Just very
Hmm.
simple and kid like. And then hers are far better than mine. She is a better artist than I am. But yeah, I'm more of a fan of the just freehand draw.
But that's amazing. I want to ask one more question we didn't talk about, but if you're okay talking about it, like what is the process to get your books on Amazon? Like, is
Well,
that must be a big process, right? That's not like a quick. I just feel like there's going to be people that are curious about it and they might be thinking of writing their own books as well. And I'm just curious how that works.
sure. And when I went into it, I was totally blind. I had no idea, and I don't know anyone who's done it. So I learned everything the hard way, as you can tell by my
Hmm.
life. So, um, so Yeah, for me it wasn't an easy process because there's a lot you have to go through and figure out, and I'm not a real technical person. I can do some things, but there's a lot of specifications and regulations to get your book on Amazon. And so you just sort of have to figure out what you want, and then there's a lot of limitations. So like
Mm.
my book on there isn't exactly my how I pictured it in my mind. But to get it out and get it started and get the ball rolling, that's what I did, even though it's not perfectly how I want it. Um, it's not the size that I want, and it's not the I
Oh,
can't
okay.
make it hardback on Amazon. It has to be like something like 72 pages before you can have it be hardback.
Oh.
So mine's in paperback form, and the quality isn't as great as I would like, but it was a great starting point for me. And the second one will be much easier now that I've gone through the process. But so I am actually right now, I found a wonderful woman who is helping me in Germany get my book printed in hardback. And so they're
That's
actually being
amazing.
printed right now as we speak. And they're going to be, they have like foil on them, and they're embossed and they're horizontal. It's
Ooh.
beautiful. I'm so excited. And then it's coming with a little stuffed animal that I created based off of my cat that's in the book. So that will hopefully be available on Amazon as well, but that's not through KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. That's through my own publishing company.
Okay.
So there's so many different things you can do, but it just depends on what you want to do and how big your book is and the formatting that you choose. And there's like so many things. But and then when you have a full-time job, it's hard to find the time to to work on those things, but I somehow
Yeah.
did it. So
That's amazing.
thank you.
That's something I've always been curious about is how do people like get their books? Like I imagine like you and your daughter were just like drawing on construction paper or just regular paper, and then now it's a book form. Like that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's different ways people do it. The way I did it, I'm sure was like the hardest way possible, but people can do a lot more digitally than I did. I actually I drew them out and then watercolored them and then scanned them into digital files. A lot of people do them, on Photoshop or Canva, or I don't even know what other ones are out there. But yeah, so there's different ways. It's just have to find what works for, what you want.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Ashley, for your time. Where can people find you? What do you have social media, your website, and if you have any offerings?
Yes, I just have my website, onemamasheart.com, and then I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, my book is available on Amazon, the paperback version. Hopefully soon the hardback, but yeah. So thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I love what you're doing. I think it's great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And I love your Instagram posts. I just love, like I said earlier, I can't keep saying it. I mean, I just love the energy that your business is doing, and I love that you're incorporating your daughter. I feel like a child's, essence is just so pure that it just radiates like a high vibration. So that's amazing.
Thank you. And that's all her. A lot of the posts she actually does. She's way smarter at the computer than I am, and she's 9 now. So a lot of those are her her style and her vibe. So
Oh, that's amazing. And I love that she's like doing it with you and she's like totally like,
oh
like
yeah.
some kids are like, nah, but
Oh,
she's all
she has
into it.
her
I feel like,
moments. Yeah, she has her moments because she's getting to be a tween, but
oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it kind of ebbs and flows. But yeah, no, she loves this kind of stuff. So
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Ashley, so much. I will put the links below in the show notes. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode with Ashley Donnegan. All the links are in the show notes below, so go ahead and follow One Mama's Heart on Instagram and Facebook. Go ahead and buy her book on Amazon. As always, you can find me at ChristinaAngelMessenger.com. That's Christina, angelmessenger.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at ChristinaAngelMessenger.com. The services that I offer are one-on-one readings, either distance or in person, or you can host an angel reading party. It has to be up to 8 people, and I will give personalized 10-minute readings to each person in the group. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with friends and family. I hope that this podcast will reach as many people as possible. Like I said in my intro, I'm just on this spiritual awakening journey, trying to learn about all different aspects of spirituality, different healing modalities, and what other healers are doing out there. She is an amazing, amazing person, Ashley. She's really fulfilling her purpose, and I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose as getting people's stories out to the world. So if this resonated with you, please leave a review, share, like, and have a great day. See you next Monday.